morning to you and happy International Women's Day to all the lovely ladies out there. It is the 8th day of March 2020. And this Sunday, Deputy President William Ruto lashes out at unnamed individuals in government who he says are out to stop his race to State House at all costs. Ruto spoke at the burial of slain police officer Kenei. Heavy words from the second-in-command in the Republic, even issuing a warning to the Director of Criminal Investigations. Uncharted territory, some would say. Speaking of the DCI, he and the Director of Public Prosecutions have come under sharp focus this past week for seemingly not reading from the same script. Despite the assurances, it seems all is not well with President Uhuru Kenyatta's anti-corruption tag team. What gives? And there has been tension in Mandera at Kenya's border with Somalia. Jubaland forces have reportedly been searching for a fugitive inside Kenya's borders, even exchanging fire with Somali forces. Does Kenya find itself caught in the middle of Somali-Jubaland dispute, and what does that mean for us? Stand by to call in with your views and questions to the panel in studio. This is Inside Politics. I am Ben Kitili. Be with us for the next 120 minutes. We shall be trying to dissect some of the biggest political and policy issues in the Republic. Deputy President William Ruto claims the fraudulent 39 billion arms deal signed at his office and subsequent murder of head of security at Harambee Annex is part of a wider scheme to kill his political career and perhaps his life as well. Ruto was speaking for the first time on the cold murder of Sergeant Kenei, alluded to a mega scheme aimed at demeaning his office and terminating his 2022 presidential bid. ATN senior political reporter Duncan Haimba tells us more.
Deputy President William Ruto was here in Chemasi's village, Solai, in Nakuru County, to lead mourners in sending off the slain head of security at his office, Sergeant Kenei. But the country's second-in-command had carried with him more than his condolence message. A visibly agitated Ruto sensationally stated before Kenei's family that their son was murdered in order to set him up.
Mbona walikubali hiyo njama iletwe kwa ofisi yangu, huyu kijana aingizwe ndani, baadaye dakika chache wale washikwe, na baadaye huyu kijana akauawa. We want to know. Kwa sababu mtu mmoja ambaye angetuambia, kwa sababu alikutana na hawa wakora wazungu pamoja na mageneral fake waliokuja kwa ofisi yangu, mtu ambaye angetuambia ukweli ni huyu jamaa wamemuua.
According to the Deputy President, the bigger picture is to lock him out of the 2022 President Uhuru Kenyatta succession race by all means.
I am aware, and I know, and it's obvious, that there is a huge scheme that has been orchestrated to demean and to destroy my office and to ensure that I do not get anywhere. That I know. And it is rather obvious. Those executing this scheme, this elaborate scheme to undermine and destroy my office and ostensibly to stop me using all these schemes, I want to tell them they may have the system. They may have whatever they have. But I want to tell them, we have God.
Ruto, who was firing from all his political cylinders, trained his guns on the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Chief Spy George Kinoti.
For political reasons, the DCI is being used to undermine my office, to bring me down, and many of them are not even ashamed to say William Ruto will not be there in 2022, and yet they are walking around.
The second-in-command is also asking hard questions.
There is no relationship between my office and DOD. There can never be a relationship of procurement of guns around my office. What is this? Na sasa imefika hata ile njama ya kuuza ama kununua bunduki fake. Na haya mambo yote, wale waliohusika na huyo ununuzi wa bunduki na majenerali bandia hawaonekani. Ile inaonekana ni ofisi ya Deputy President. My friends, please, give us a break.
As he sensationally claimed he is aware of what is awaiting him politically, but says he is ready for it.
Pengine waliue mimi, lakini sitarudi nyuma. Siwezi kurudi nyuma. Kwa sababu Kenya ni ya Wakenya wote. Kenya si ya Wakenya wachache. Vitisho, njama, hizi zote. Kwa sababu ninajua hata yale mambo yanakuja hapa mbele ambayo imepangwa. But I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. Kama uliua huyu ndio munitishe, mimi nataka niwaambie damu ya huyu itawaandama, hamtapona. And I know what I'm saying. I am the Deputy President of Kenya. I'm not a madman. I know what I'm saying.
Immediately he landed, Ruto held a closed-door meeting with the late Kenei's family for over 1.5 hours before heading to the funeral service. Just like that, Kenei has been laid to rest, leaving behind many unanswered questions. Duncan Hemba, KTN News.
Thank you, Duncan. Many unanswered questions, as he says, there, and very heavy words by the second in command. My panel is here with me to help me put some perspective into it. With me, political risk analyst Dismas Mokua, lawyer Kenei Chesa, communications strategist Mark Bichachi, and lawyer and political strategist Kipchumba Karori. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me in studio today. What do we think about what happened yesterday in Solai in the county of Nakuru, Dismas?
Well, there are a million questions which remain unanswered because, you know, the security of the deputy president is a national security concern. So when the number 2 person in Kenya is uncomfortable about his security, then a million questions come to play. Then he speaks about a system which is hell-bent on eliminating him before 2022. Now, and then at the same time, he says that the DCI has been mobilized to stop his presidential intentions for 2022. Several questions come to play. Does the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, actually know the people who killed Sergeant Kenei? And then does he know the people who want to kill him ahead of 2022? If he knows, has he made the information available to the DCI? And if he's going to make the information available to the DCI, after claiming that he's been mobilized, who is he going to run to give him protection? Now, when you make those kind of heavy statements in a public rally, as a Mura back in Mosocho, what am I supposed to make out of it? Is it that you no longer have access to your boss, the President of the Republic of Kenya, who that when he was being sworn in, he was given the ceremonial sword to take care of lives and properties, including the life of the Deputy President?
Right.
Does it mean that he has no access to the president to air those issues? And why is he using a public forum? And is that the last resort? And in my view, when you look at the articles 131 all the way to 151, the presidency is a symbol of national unity. And his behavior right now reminds you of the administration of President Kibaki,
right.
The Kibaki and Raila administration, where they used to be wrangles every day. And at that stage, one would understand because they came from different parties. Mm-hmm. But here we are talking about one ticket where the deputy president, for the last couple of days, is gone to social media almost on a daily basis, making very serious allegations. And in my view, the deputy president should let the DCI do his work, because the DCI has been employed to do, investigations on all these matters.
All right. Ken, yes. This 39 billion shilling saga that has dogged the Deputy President's office has had Kenyans with many questions. Does the President's words yesterday leave you with more or less questions?
the Deputy President's word. The Deputy President's word on the scandal leaves me with a number of questions. One, the DP is not denying that there was a scandal. As the second in command in this country, is accepting that indeed there was a scandal. But what he is quick to say is that this scandal was planted in my office with the view of fixing me. And you heard him confirm yesterday that the system is working against him. Who is the system? A system in another language refers to government, a government that he is serving. And Rashid Echesa, the gentleman at the center of this scam, is William Ruto's best friend, at least within the region from Western Kenya. It is Ruto who brought him to cabinet. It is Uhuru who fired him from cabinet. I do not understand how a system will choose friends for you, then the system will use your friends to fix you. And about the Kenei murder, William Ruto confirmed one thing yesterday. One, that Kenei was murdered. You know, half of the country had bought the belief that Kenei committed suicide. When the DCI came up with the murder theory, yes, half bought into it. So yesterday, William Ruto confirmed that Kenei was murdered. And two, he confirmed that Kenei's murder is a larger scheme to fix him and to bring some animosity between him and his community.
Basically says that Kenei was collateral damage.
Kenei was collateral damage. The questions we are asking is this. Can't William Ruto let institutions work? Can't William Ruto present himself before the DCI and record a statement on what he knows about the killers of Kenei? Because from his speech, you can see a man who is very frustrated, a man who knows what happened to Kenei, but a man whose hands are tied. He's saying people who killed Kenei are the same people who want to stop him from ascending to presidency. Here is a man making these statements, but he has not presented himself before the institutions charged with criminal investigation to present his report. Under our law, it is only the president who, during the time of his presidency, cannot be subject to those processes. But William Ruto can.
Mark, what do you think about this? Is this the ultimate conspiracy theory?
The term theory is correct because the tale that is being spun is a tale stranger than fiction. If you were to follow the narrative, and it's important here to state that this is a pure narrative, it's a story, and let me explain the story. So there's the DCI story. The DCI story is this, that Rashid Echesa, with the two gentlemen from Europe, did a deal within the precincts of the Deputy President's office. The point of divergence between these stories begins with one, the duration of how long, and then spins out of control with the murder of Sergeant Kenei. Now, why are these two factors important? These two factors are important because either Kenei was simply ushering guests to an office as he normally does, and he knew nothing. Okay? But when he was murdered, it threw things into a tailspin. And this is now William Ruto's story. William Ruto's story is that Kenei and Echesa did a deal at his office without his knowledge. And then the DCI, or the powers that be, seeing opportunity in that, pounced on the case to fix him. And to make the case fix him even better, they killed Kenei to make him look like he's covering his tracks. That is the theory, and that's the story. Now, why is it important for William Ruto for the story to be that way? It is important to him for two reasons. Reason number one is so that no matter what investigation or step is taken against him, it will always look political in case he is guilty. Today, after his statement, if he is stopped on a traffic violation, it will be said that it is simply because of his 2022 ambitions. It is a very brilliant PR strategy to use to protect yourself from any form of investigation, any form of inquiry. Right. However, his theory has a number of flaws. It has a number of flaws because of the history of Kenya. In the last 3-4 years, we've killed Musando, we've killed Jacob Juma, and we've killed Mushai. The reasons why these people have been killed, I will not mention. Let the people go to Jacob Juma's Twitter page and tell us what are the reasons he purported he would be killed for. Fill that gap for yourself. But moving that into the space we are in now, the truth of the matter is that if at my house today, where I am absent, if something criminal was to occur, the newspapers tomorrow will not say that Mark was absent. They will say political analyst's house, Mark Bichachi's house, was the scene of a crime. That will not be DCI hunting me, because DCI did not tell Rashid Echesa where to do his criminal activities from. The question that must be asked is, why did he feel so comfortable to conduct such activity in such hallowed ground?
All right. Bonakili, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Ben, for the opportunity. I think I take this opportunity to, first of all, give my condolences to Arnold Kipyegon Kenei. May he rest in peace. That is my first point. My second point is on the issue. There are two things that, and from where I sit, I think we are gaslighting Kenyans. One, we have the fake arms deals, the fake arms deal. In that thing, nobody, so we are, you know, the normal way of doing things in Kenya. We got lost, we have forgotten the arms deal, we are now pursuing Kenei. We have reached a point, we have left Kenei, we are pursuing William Ruto and the security and those issues. The first point is this, which we need to ask, and which nobody is asking, and which I am asking the DCI. Small criminology knowledge states that, one, where did the sequence begin of all this? It began with the issue of fake arms. We have two foreigners in the center of all this. Where are these foreigners? How were they allowed here? Two, we have Echesa. We know Echesa, his track record is known across board. Two, we need to see the profiling of these foreigners. How were they here? Who hosted them here? Which hotel were they? The other thing, how many government offices did they visit, or other things? Three, the other people, the generals. What is their criminal record? So that we can deal with the arms deal, we finish it. So that from there, when we deal with this thing sequentially, we will remove the questions Bichachi is asking. After that, we go to Kenei. When Jacob Juma, may his soul rest in peace, died, when Chris Musando died, we were shown even the GPRS locationing of their last 6 hours. We were told he went to Oledume Road, he made a turn. For Musando, we were told he came to around the Nyayo's roundabout, he made a phone call, he went back. All those are the questions we want to ask. Where did Kenei spend his last moments? The other question is this: who is this that is so powerful that he can delete the phone records of a person? Does it mean that it was deleted from just Safaricom or from the servers in Europe? That is the question. The other question is this: yes, the issue of Kenei, we are told there are 3 other people in the crime scene. Who are these people? And who is the person who assisted these people to delete the servers? Because when you go to the logins to Safaricom, you must know that this is what Ben Kitili did. When I come here and in your auto queue something is deleted, I can go to the server and I'll be told it is whatever was compromised was Ben Kitili.
And
finally,
here's my question.
The other issue, let me just conclude, on the issue of William Ruto and his security.
Yes.
I think we have reached the bad thing of politicizing everything. We have reached a point in this country where we don't know when we are playing with fire or not. The thing is this: it began as a joke. It began with Tuoli and Morande saying William Ruto will not be there, which some of us, I included, believed is political, because we must not forget 2 things. Finishing William Ruto politically through the legally ordained means is allowed. That one, William Ruto should not be protected from real and true political machinations. We will be killing democracy in this country. But now, that must be differentiated from these other ploys, when he himself tells us that my security, whatever has been compromised. We ask yourself, there was a recent thing that happened in Murang'a when our governor and goons came, and as I was sitting there, I asked myself, are we as a nation serious about the things we are doing? A deputy president sitting somewhere, goons came to that tent, there was a scuffle, nothing happened. nobody has been arrested in all that melee. There is the other issue of foreigners coming. We don't know what they were here to do.
Okay.
We don't know on whose instruction they were here. They went to the office of the deputy president, stayed there for the time they stayed there, and left. Ben Kitili, we are playing with fire.
So the deputy president, even as we talk about this, Kipchumba, has not named, as said, pointed to named individuals who are in the system, that means the government, out to stop his presidential bid by all means. I mean, that is a very heavy statement coming from the number 2 in this country, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a heavy statement. But my question now goes to this. We have a president in this country, Ben, who is Uhuru Kenyatta. He swore to protect this country. Where we are currently as a nation, I know that whatever is happening, we are going for a succession. And every time we get to a succession, in democracies, which there are tribes, nations forming the state,
okay,
these embers will always be there. It is a normal thing. But what matters now is, where is the conscience of the nation?
Yes,
and again, the other thing that we need to get, we have been told about the security of the deputy president for so long. I think it is time now that President Uhuru Kenyatta comes out and assures the public, because there are a lot of other things happening. Kenyans are anxious, because if today the deputy president can say security is compromised, what will Kipchumba, a normal civilian walking around, think? Or what will Mora think?
Yes, Mark.
You know, we must learn from the tales we were told as young people. There was a boy who made a habit of crying wolf. I'm sure you know the story. And if you know the story, I will remind you of Lamada Hotel accusations, where C.S. Musheru, Cecily Kariuki, and Munya were allegedly plotting the death and murder of the deputy president. It was hardly a year ago when this was top news again. Now, let me tell you, assassinating a top of government official is not equal to killing a chicken, and it is not equal to killing Mark Bichachi. Let us be very clear.
What is your point?
The political clout that William Ruto carries alone is insurance. Okay? Because I am pretty sure no one wants to see that kind of disruption in this country. Secondly, this is the second time he's talking about his security. And each of those times, it is baseless. The death of a sergeant is not equal to the death of a deputy president. The means you would use to kill a sergeant living in a bedsitter alone is not the means you would use to kill someone who's got 6,
Let me ask you this.
okay.
You've made your points there. You've said that this tale is stranger than fiction.
Yes, it is.
But is it fair to say?
It is a political narrative.
Is it fair to say, Mark, that there has been statements made that we will stop the DP at all costs?
But my dear friend, it is a democracy. If I decided to run for MP, okay, I am sure a Chesaia who probably comes from the same village as me, would say he would employ all means necessary to stop me. You know, this handling the DP with gloves and his political ambitions with gloves is wrong. Because the truth of the matter, who has Atwoli ever stopped, right? Surely. Do we think Atwoli, through his association, has a gang of people that can kill people? When you look at the former chair, vice chair of Jubilee, surely, what in his track record shows us that he has that capacity.
So you agree that that has been said?
A threat must be credible.
Are we treading on? Is there danger in those utterances coming in collision course with what's happening?
There is danger in all utterances regarding human life. And I want to remind Kenyans about what the late Peter Habenga said about Bishop Alexander Kipsang Muge. Jokingly, the minister then told the bishop that dare you stop in Busia tomorrow, preach against KANU, and you'll come out of Western Kenya a dead man. The bishop went to Busia. On his way back, and by coincidence, just at Kipkaren, the border of North Rift and Western, the bishop's car rammed into some truck, which had been there for some weeks. And indeed, the good man of the Lord died, and the minister was forced to resign. But the police could not link the threat to the accident that had killed the bishop. The question I want to ask William Ruto is this: where has he reported this threat to his life? Whenever you are threatened and you feel that the threat is real, you report to the authorities, and the authorities carry out investigation and go to the culprits. We cannot summon Atwoli, for example, out of imaginations and funeral outbursts that people in Asudi are complaining, Atwoli has threatened Ruto, and then we summon Atwoli. We cannot, at the level of a deputy president, be crybabies in funerals saying, my life is under threat.
All right.
You know, the DCI today sits in a very difficult position. If the life of the deputy president is under any kind of threat, is the person who is supposed to do the investigations. But in the last couple of days, the deputy president and his team have spent hours on end saying that this man is not capable of doing this work, is only being used for political purposes. Now, when the DCI comes and is giving us an update of this Echesa case and the Kenei murder, we are told that's a political mobilization. And you know, Kipchumba has eloquently placed so many questions that he likes the DCI to answer. Now, when he answers those questions tomorrow, again, there's a group of Kenyans who will say, he's now taking it to the next level. As a DCI, what are we supposed to be doing under those circumstances? And in my view, the deputy president must be reminded that he's the second most powerful person in Kenya. Any word which comes from his mouth is supposed to be carefully structured. Because he may be saying these statements thinking that he's addressing his Kalenjin constituency, that at the death of Sergeant Kenei is supposed to alienate him from his voters. But Mura in Kisii or Nafula in Kakamega is wondering what is going on.
Good point. I want us to talk about that. But let's take a quick commercial break here on Inside Politics. When we come back, we'll continue trying to analyze the words of the Deputy